Hey everybody, Freddie here. I'm on the road with Castle and today I'm in Thompsontown, Pennsylvania, and we came up here to visit one of our customers, ACPI, because they're using our machines and we wanted to check them out in production and talk to some of the people who are using them. So let's get started. Very high volume. There's a lot of cabinets leaving this place every single day.
Yeah, just out of the Thompsontown facility, we produce roughly 6,000 cabinets, both framed and frameless, out of this facility on a daily basis, 5 days a week.
So when you were contemplating making the change to the Castle machinery and to the pocket method of joinery, what were some of the things that you considered and your team considered in making that investment, and what were your expectations of that investment, and how have we at Castle fulfilled those expectations?
Sure. I got to take you back to it was probably early 2013. Our operation, as we turned the company around after we acquired it, part of our frame making, we were bore and dowel, and our equipment for bore and dowel didn't produce a quality product. So the joints weren't tight, they were misaligned, had to do a lot of post sanding of the dowel itself. And not only that, we could only handle about 50% of our capacity. And so we had established a foreign supply chain for the other 50% of the capacity, which we never had the right part at the right time. So basically we put together an entire project plan, and part of it was going to the pocket mortise and get rid of the bore and dowel equipment. So not only did it save a large amount of space, it eliminated the amount of work in process that we had in the plant at any point in time, and it completely eliminated a foreign supply chain, which allowed us to liquidate roughly $1.4 million of cash tied up. So to me, as putting my CFO hat on versus my COO hat, here it was a great investment. The total amount of the equipment that we purchased was probably $350,000 to $400,000 to make this happen, and in return we were able to liquidate roughly $1.4 million of working capital.
And that's a true success story there. So
oh, absolutely.
So your payoff on this deal was almost immediate, it seems.
Oh, it was overnight.
Overnight.
Yeah, literally overnight. It paid for itself.
You actually laboratory test the strength of your joints, and I don't remember exactly the numbers, but it was significant difference in strength with the Castle joinery, the pocket joinery.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, and in our business, we're delivering furniture, so we do, and furniture gets damaged. We do a lot of drop testing of different combinations of designs of cabinets. And we actually found that the pocket screw with a glued joint actually survived our drop test much better than our old construction method.
What goes through your mind as a manager in making this decision?
Well, you know what? I think it's support after we get the machine. My maintenance guy, I don't know if you talked to Shane, but he's very important to me, and he has never had a complaint about being able to get replacement parts, rebuilt parts, and to keep the machines up and running. I mean, you see, we run 24 hours a day, and those machines got to run. And you saw the number. I can't even imagine. My guess was we probably put in between 35 and 40,000 screws a day. Would be a guess.
Well, one impression that I got is that machine is situated on the front end of almost every operation, and how critical that machine is to be functional, be running. And your three machines in this shop here are running 24 hours a day.
Right.
And I think it was Jim who told us that probably over 1 million screws a year.
Oh, easily. Yeah. If you figure 6 to 10 screws per frame, and we're building 5,000 frames a day.
It's a big number.
Yeah, it's a huge number. I think it's more than 1 million.
Yeah, probably more than
So the benefits that I see here is we've reduced the amount of labor by 20% in the frame department. It's allowed us to go from we've actually 32% productivity improvement is what we've seen by the use of the equipment. So I absolutely love it, and I've been a proponent of it from the very first time that I used it. And we're producing a cabinet every 17 seconds, pretty fast. So
There's a lot of stuff going out the door.
well, if you think about it from a reliability standpoint, every 17 seconds. So if you have a mishit on a face frame, and you're not producing a face frame within that same tack time that your final assembly is going to run, it's it kills you, absolutely crushes you. Cabinet plants run in sequence. They've got to stay in sequence. That's how they run. And if you don't have reliability upstream in the process, then you're not going to have that kind of predictability and be on that tack time, that drumbeat downstream.
You having been in this industry a long time, there's been a transition over the years toward pocket joinery.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's a transition that's still in motion, or has that just kind of become the standard?
Oh, I think it's absolutely. It's when I again, I kind of sound like a broken record. When I first got here, I felt like we were way behind the times because the three competitors that I've worked for, it's definitely an industry standard. Definitely industry standard. So I felt like we were behind the times, and quickly realized we needed to very quickly change that process. I mean, one of the huge benefits was not only the reliability, and you guys have been awesome too from a support standpoint. No, nobody paid me to say that, but you guys have been phenomenal, and it allowed us to go make the order. It allowed us to free the inventory up. It allowed us to take people out of the process. It allowed us to be predictable at a much higher volume level, is what it allowed us to do. So Wally is our CFO and COO. It took him about 2 seconds to see the benefit, and he told me immediately, go buy that equipment, and we did.
It sounds like over the last few years there's been a renaissance at ACPI.
It has,
and
huge transformation.
And it's transformed into something pretty great from
It
what
has.
I'm seeing. And there's probably been a lot of adjustments, a lot of changes along the way. Would it be fair to say that Castle is part of that transformation?
It was actually the first thing that we did.
That's great.
Yeah, the first thing we attacked when I got here was face frames.
You have 3 Castle machines,
Yes.
and those are the CSI machines,
Yes.
and that's the big one that cuts the pocket and inserts
And
the
inserts
screw.
the screw. It's a lot
All in
lot easier on us. That way, it puts a screw, drills it, routers the hole in, puts a screw in, then we just put it on the table and glue it up and build them up.
And that operation happens really quick.
Really quick, yes.
Yeah. I was out on the floor with you a few minutes ago, and I was watching one of your operators, and man, she was just,
Yes.
it was amazing how fast she was moving. And when you think about that in a production environment, your flow is so efficient. In fact, I thought you told me earlier, like today's a good example. Your department is ahead of the rest of the production.
We are the beginning of the department, and if we're not on, nobody else is on. So we have to make ourselves on.
So 1,400 or 1,500 frames in a shift? Or?
Yes, in a shift.
Okay, and you run
We run 3 shifts.
3 shifts. So that leads me to this question. Is that Castle machine running continuously?
It is running 24/7.
Just one after another?
Constant, yes.
One after another.
Yes.
You may not know the answer to this question, but I'd be curious, how many pockets and screws how many pockets are you cutting a year, and how many screws are being inserted?
I say over 1 million.
Over 1 million screws a
Yes.
year. So that machine is running 24 hours a day.
Correct.
If you had to take either an educated guess or an actual hard data number, how many pockets and screws would you say are being cut and inserted in the course of a year?
Well, you're probably well above 1 million.
Benefits to the Castle pocket, because we're really proud of our unique pocket.
The pocket, I think, if from a builder's perspective, is at an angle that allows easy gun penetration to insert the screw. I think, as Pete mentioned earlier, it minimizes the amount of splitting because of the entry into the next piece of wood. Other than that, it's...
So that's what we think. We think that because it is a low angle 6-degree pocket, as the screw enters the material, 2 things happen. One is it doesn't have the tendency to want to move apart. Of course, you're clamping your material in the assembly, but in most applications we feel like clamping isn't even necessary. We think that's a benefit. We think because of the low angle that it's probably creating a cleaner connection to the mating piece, and therefore maybe helping prevent the splitting, and we also just think it's an elegant, beautiful pocket.
The machine, in one swift movement, it actually drills the pilot hole, it machines the pocket, and inserts the screw. And when that part leaves that machine, it's a complete part, and it takes less than a second to perform this. One of the side benefits that you don't really see, and you don't really think about, is it's helped us reduce inventory. We used to use bore and dowel, and we would have to have stuff machined way ahead of time, and we had mountains and mountains of inventories to keep the plant running. Now it's like a just-in-time delivery. You make the part, build the frame.
And how you benefited by moving to the Castle Pocket and the CSI machine?
Well, not only by reducing inventory, we've also improved our quality. We got a tighter fitting joint. Through our KCMA testing and our internal laboratory, we have a stronger frame, and it's actually sped up the flow through the plant.
So you actually test the strength of the frame in a scientific laboratory type environment, and you've
Correct.
determined that you have a stronger frame with the pocket joinery versus the doweling.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's pretty interesting, but we're not surprised by that. What about the aspect of being able to stack the parts? The screw insertion.
It's all contained within the piece of material itself, so there is no problem with stacking and things leaning.
Mm-hmm.
With law bore and dowel, you actually have pieces protruding. Everything's internal pretty much, so it makes it a lot nicer.
The screw is seated in such a way that it doesn't interfere with stacking
Correct.
the parts.
Correct.
And you're able to keep your parts organized.
Correct. One of the good things, or unique things about a CSI, is we do run 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, sometimes 6. There's very minimal downtime, so there's not very much maintenance required on these pieces of equipment. And if ever we get into a pinch, we need some service. We've always had excellent service, and they're only a phone call away. I would recommend the Castle CSI to anybody, and if you do buy any cabinetry, ACPI is your name.
That's right.